Welcome back to Euro Football Daily. When a legend leaves a club, it can take years to replace them, and sometimes it's just impossible. Here are 10 players who managed to replace the seemingly irreplaceable. 10. Jordan Henderson. Considered by many as the greatest captain in the club's history, Steven Gerrard's departure from Liverpool in 2015 represented the end of an era. And while the decision to hand the armband to vice-captain Jordan Henderson was generally greeted positively by the fans, the former Sunderland man still had impossibly huge shoes to fill. But despite clearly being a more limited midfielder than his predecessor, Henderson has made up for it with superb leadership. His first season at captain was a tough one, missing over 30 games through injury. But with Jurgen Klopp taking over from Brendan Rodgers that same year, the England international led the club into a glorious new era under the German coach. Klopp's voice on the pitch and the driver of the most aggressive midfield unit in the Premier League, Henderson was a constant as the team was upgraded around him, with his defensive intelligence helping get the best out of young right-back Trent Alexander-Arnold in particular. His dogged determination has helped pull his teammates through many a tough encounter, whether against Man City in the league or Barcelona in Europe, and was rewarded with a Champions League winners' medal in 2019, before he went one better than Gerrard the following year by securing the club's first league title in 3 decades. And his leadership has been felt away from the pitch too, with Henderson giving vocal support to LGBT football fans and organising a campaign to raise millions of pounds for the NHS in the early months of the global pandemic. A club legend in every sense. 9. Rio Ferdinand. When Jaap Stam left Man United for Lazio in 2001, it spelled the beginning of an era of relative mediocrity for Sir Alex Ferguson at Man United. The Red Devils would win just one Premier League title over the next 5 years, finishing outside the top 2 for the first time in the Premier in the season following Stam's departure, and winning no trophies at all in 2 campaigns. It was quite the drop-off from a treble win in 1999 in 3 consecutive titles, and Ferguson later pinpointed his decision to sell the Dutch defender as one of his biggest regrets. However, the year after Stam left, Rio Ferdinand was signed from Leeds for record money, and the building of a new side began to take place. United's backline slowly began to recover, with the country's most adept ball-playing centre-back at the heart of it, although it would take another 4 years before he was given an ideal partner in Nemanja Vidic. They would go on to form arguably the best central defensive partnership in United's history, conceding just 22 league goals in the 2007-8 season, a club record, and reaching 3 Champions League finals in 4 years. Stam may have had the treble, but Ferdinand became an undoubted Premier League great. 8. Ruslan Malinovskyi. The rise of Atalanta as a force in Italian football in the late 2010s can of course be traced to the appointment of Gianpiero Gasperini as manager in 2016. However, when it comes to players, Papu Gomez is the name most closely associated with the Bergamo club's resurgence. The Argentinian forward made over 250 appearances for La Dea and was the versatile, skillful and creative talisman at the heart of Gasperini's attacking revolution, contributing to 26 goals in the manager's first campaign and earning himself the captaincy the following year. But when Gomez eventually left following a fiery falling out with the coach in 2021, there was no reason to panic. Such is the effectiveness of the club's recruitment strategy, departing stars are replaced with a near 100% hit rate, and the captain's departure opened up a regular spot for Ukrainian playmaker Ruslan Malinovskyi, signed from Genk in 2019. Malinovskyi has been excellent ever since. Despite making just 5 league starts before January, he ended the 2021 campaign with 8 goals and 12 assists, averaging a goal contribution every 94 minutes, helping the side to another third-place finish and scoring in the Coppa Italia final defeat to Juventus. And his start to the 21-22 season has been similarly impressive, marrying 3.6 shots with 4.1 key passes per 90, creating chances at a higher rate than anyone else in Serie A. 7. Alessandro Del Piero. Back in the mid-1990s, there was no doubt as to who was the biggest star in Serie A. Roberto Baggio was the icon of the era, the talisman of the national team and considered by some to be one of the greatest footballers of the century. A world-class dribbler, a superb creator and above all an incredible showman and leader, Baggio scored 115 goals in 200 appearances for Juventus, finally winning the Scudetto his performances deserved in his final season in Turin. But when he left for Milan in 1995, there was already a young star ready to take up the mantle. Alessandro Del Piero, then just 20 years old, had already made over 60 appearances for the Bianconeri and possessed both a similar technical skill set to Baggio as well as his strong work ethic. He was handed the Divine Ponytail's number 10 jersey, and the following campaign was the club's top scorer in the Champions League as they lifted the European Cup. By the time he retired in 2012, he'd more than surpassed Baggio's achievements, ranking as Juve's all-time top scorer and appearance maker, having won 6 Scudetti and having even scored a penalty in the 2006 World Cup final shootout to exorcise the ghosts of 1994. 6. Manuel Neuer. The 2007-8 season saw Bayern Munich win the Bundesliga at a canter, losing just twice and conceding just 21, setting a new club record in the Bully. But that summer, captain Oliver Kahn retired, leaving a huge gap between the sticks in Bavaria. The legendary stopper, who was voted UEFA's Goalkeeper of the Year a record 4 consecutive times at the turn of the millennium, had been a gigantic figure in the Bayern dressing room and an inspiration on the field, winning 17 major trophies in 14 years with FCB. The following 3 years would see the side struggle defensively, winning just 1 of 3 league titles and falling behind Jurgen Klopp's Borussia Dortmund. But in 2011, Jupp Heynckes returned to the club as manager, and they also signed highly rated goalkeeper Manuel Neuer from Schalke. The club was instantly lifted, conceding just 22 the following campaign despite finishing second, and winning 9 consecutive titles after that, a run that continues to this day. With his ability to come out and act as an extra line of defence as well as play out from the back with ease, Neuer redefined the role of a keeper for a new era, breaking multiple records as he went. Part of a contingent who won the treble in 12-13 and 19-20, Neuer set a new benchmark for Bundesliga clean sheets in 2021, breaking a record previously held by Kahn in 116 fewer appearances, and also got his hands on the World Cup, something his predecessor failed to achieve despite his heroic efforts in 2002. 5. Rúben Dias. Vincent Kompany had already been sorely missed on a number of occasions before he left Man City in 2019, with injuries seeing him fail to make 20 league appearances in any season following 2014-15. But his loss was particularly felt following his departure, with an injury to Aymeric Laporte derailing Pep Guardiola's attempt at securing a 3rd successive Premier League crown. Unsurprisingly, the club moved quickly to reinforce the back line the next summer, bringing in Nathan Ake from Bournemouth and Ruben Dias from Benfica. And Dias was an instant hit, smashing the stereotype of overseas defenders needing time to adapt to English football and quickly becoming the organiser of City's back line, taking to the role once occupied by Kompany with ease and helping revive John Stones' career in the process. Dias and Stones holding down the fort, City won 15 consecutive league games, a run in which they conceded just 5 goals, and reached their first ever European Cup final. By the end of the campaign, the Portuguese centre-half had been voted Premier League Player of the Year and Football Writers Player of the Year, becoming the first defender to win the latter award in the Prem era. 4. Jens Lehmann. Arsene Wenger's early success at Arsenal was not only down to the young undervalued players that he brought in from overseas in the late 90s, but also the strong defensive contingent he inherited from the George Graham era. Goalkeeper David Seaman was one of them, having been the club's #1 since signing from QPR in 1990, and his superb performances between the sticks helped the Gunners to 2 league and cup doubles under Wenger, as well as helping the side concede just 17 league goals in 98-99, a feat only beaten by Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. After 13 years with the club and just months shy of his 40th birthday, Seaman left Highbury and was replaced by another veteran in Jens Lehmann. Despite his reputation for bad behaviour, having been sent off 5 times in his career to that point, Lehmann was also highly regarded for his shot-stopping, distribution and command of his area. The German stopper kept 80 clean sheets across 200 appearances for the London club, stood firm during their famous unbeaten season in 2003-04, and 2 years later was instrumental in the side's march to the Champions League final, conceding 0 goals en route to the showpiece, famously saving a last-minute penalty from Villarreal's Juan Román Riquelme in the semi-final. He may have been sent off in the final defeat to Barcelona, but the Gunners have struggled to replace him ever since. 3. Diego Costa. Atletico Madrid have developed a pretty good knack for replacing world-class strikers over the years. The same summer they sold Fernando Torres, they brought in Diego Forlán in his prime, having signed a teenage Sergio Aguero the year before. And when they said goodbye to that pair in 2011, they raided Porto for the imperious Radamel Falcao. But it was the Colombian's replacement who was arguably the most influential. Following Falcao's move to Monaco in 2013, Diego Costa, who at 24 was only just beginning to emerge as a top-class striker, with disciplinary and weight issues marring his early years in Spain, was required to make the step up, and he did so. The Brazil-born striker netted 36 goals in 2013-14, outdoing Falcao's total from the season before, firing Atleti to a league title and a Champions League final against the odds, establishing the club as a true player among Europe's elite once again. He then left for Chelsea and was expertly replaced by Antoine Griezmann, but it had only taken that one season for Costa to make history. 2. Karim Benzema. When Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid in 2018, it was expected the Spanish giants would experience a drop-off. And they did, scoring 31 fewer goals in the league, failing to reach the Champions League quarter-finals for the first time in 9 years, and accumulating their worst La Liga points tally since 2002. However, as the club spent vast sums trying to replace the Portuguese forward, an unlikely talisman emerged. While Gareth Bale was seen as the natural heir to Ronaldo and the signing of Eden Hazard a big statement of intent, it was Karim Benzema, who had played second fiddle to CR7 for a number of years, who became Real's main man. Having scored 20 plus in the league just twice prior to Ronaldo's departure, Benzema did so for 3 consecutive seasons after he left, following the side to La Liga glory in 2020 and carrying a struggling attack almost entirely on his own. At the time of writing, the former Lyon man has 9 goals and 7 assists in 8 league appearances this term, a goal involvement every 44 minutes. 1. Gianluigi Buffon. Considering he's one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time, it's strange to think that Gianluigi Buffon ever had anything to prove. But following his world record transfer to Juventus in 2001, there was pressure on the then 23-year-old to perform, not least because the club had been home to another world-class stopper the decade before. Angelo Peruzzi had won everything there was to win in Turin after moving from Roma in 1991, and was their hero in the 1996 Champions League final against Ajax, saving 2 penalties in the shootout. But despite never getting his hands on the big-eared trophy, finishing runner-up 3 times, Buffon achieved true legendary status in Turin, spending 19 seasons in total with the old lady, and sticking by her following relegation to Serie B in 2006. He also usurped Peruzzi for the national team, with the veteran employed as his backup at the 2006 World Cup, where he was reportedly a major voice in the dressing room. And while his predecessor stayed at the top level with Lazio until retiring at 37, Buffon has outdone him for longevity too, winning the Serie A Player of the Year award at 39 and still starting regularly in the top flight at the ripe old age of 43. So those were our 10 players who replaced the irreplaceable, but have you got any shouts of your own? Let us know down below and maybe we'll do a part 2. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like, subscribe to EuroFootball Daily if you haven't done so already, and why not click on screen right now for another great EFD video. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.